So good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, and thank you for joining us from all over the Americas. I'm here today with Sarah Quigley, co-founder of Private Travel Iceland. So Sarah, you have a beautiful country to show us and certainly a lot of updates, so I'll let you start.
Thank you, Dominique. Let me just share my screen. So today's presentation, if many of you have joined on previous ones we've been doing over the past couple of years. And today I thought I would be discussing self-drive in Iceland. It's not something we usually actively promote because our specialist is in the guiding and our driver guides, but it's something we do get asked about. So I thought, let's do a presentation about it. I can talk to you how we do it because we sort of try and do it a little bit different. And then obviously I can answer any questions that you have. Yeah. So before I start, I'll just give you a sort of a quick overview on Iceland, just sort of talk about the majority of where people visit on their sort of first times and how long we need for sort of other itineraries. So the majority of first time people are coming, they will fly into Keflavik, which is just here by the Blue Lagoon. And we usually do them for 1 or 2 nights in Reykjavik. We'll head down to the sort of south coast area around here for sort of 2 or 3 nights, and then ending in the Blue Lagoon for 1 or 2 nights. And that's just a very standard first time Iceland itinerary to get a sort of good overview of the nature and the scenery. If people have got a bit longer, we'll head as far as Jökulsárlón and the Glacier Lagoon and the Diamond Beach, and we can spend 1 or 2 nights there. Or we could go to the West Fjords and to the Snæfellsnes sort of peninsula. We can add a couple of nights there. People wanting to do the ring road, so all the way road number 1, we like to sort of recommend 2 weeks without it being rushed. I'm actually working on 3 ring road itineraries at the moment, and they're all sort of 14 to 16 days. And that just allows you sort of 1 or 2 nights Reykjavik, 2 or 3 on the south coast, a couple at the Glacier Lagoon, 1 around the East Fjords, and then we sort of spend 2, 3, 4 nights up in the north at Akurey and Mývatn. And then we would head then to the West Fjords and a couple of nights there before ending in the Blue Lagoon. So it's a lot of driving for the driver guide. So that's why we like to do it at sort of a slower pace. There's lots to see, so we don't want anyone to sort of miss out on anything. Okay, so let's have just a look at, so this is the Diamond Beach, what I was talking about earlier, and this is at Jökulsárlón Glacier Lagoon. So you have all of the icebergs that come off the glacier, they're floating around in the lagoon, and then they sort of connect then to the ocean, so they're sort of washing out and coming back on and polishing, and the way the sort of light catches them, they do look like diamonds on the beach. So it's very, very beautiful. And as you can see, that's sort of located in the southeast. This, like my backdrop, which Dominique was saying earlier, I always pick because it's just my favorite place. And this is Langmannlur, so this is the Icelandic Highlands. And this is an area that's only accessible by a super jeep. So we'll talk a little bit more about it later in connection on how we do it in with the self-drive itineraries. And it's also only an area that's usually open around sort of June through to September, depending on when the roads open from winter and when it starts to snow for when they close for the start of the next winter. And that's just there in the middle of Iceland. This one is Thor's Mork, again, another super jeep day. But this one we can access all year round. So this is a picture of it sort of springtime. It's got beautiful glacier rivers, hidden waterfalls and canyons, and we sort of take up a nice picnic lunch or a barbecue in there and do some good hiking for the day. And that's just between the sort of south coast and the highlands. This is Gogofoss, so one of Iceland's 10,000 waterfalls. So you will never not see a waterfall when you're over. And this one's on the south coast. I'm just painted there. Oh, we've got matching pictures. This is Gulfoss, so probably Iceland's most famous waterfall, and that's on the Golden Circle route. Just there. And this one is Slanderfoss, which is a waterfall. As you can see, you can walk all the way around. And again, that one's on the south coast, just there. So this is an area in the west, which I sort of briefly mentioned earlier. This is Snæfellsnes Peninsula. So it's a really beautiful scenic area, and it gets stunning in the winter as well. Great for northern lights because there's not much sort of light pollution in the winter months there. And that's Kirkefjord, which was the mountain in the picture. And then obviously northern lights. We sort of say season-wise, mid-September through to around sort of now, this sort of time, they'll be sort of ending, start to middle of April. They have been seen in August, they have been seen sort of later, but obviously it's one of those things that we will never, ever, ever be able to guarantee. But in a guided itinerary, we will always include at least one sort of northern light hunt for the clients. So the sort of main point of this presentation is to talk about self-driving. At the beginning, when we started the company, we didn't sort of really do it, but, you know, people were asking for the self-drive option for sort of one of two reasons. Either they wanted a bit more independence, or they wanted to come to Iceland and wanted to experience it with us, but their budget didn't quite sort of stretch to a driver guide option. So we thought we would look at the self-drive option, but we wanted to make it a little different instead of clients flying in, going to get the rental car and just going, because anyone can book that and it doesn't really add any value. So what we sort of decided was, because the majority of our clients are coming from the Americas, they would have done an overnight flight to reach Iceland. So that, to start with, we thought it's not a good way then to start your experience by getting in a self-drive car after doing a red-eye flight when you're tired and you're in a new country. So we always include a transfer on arrival, because 99% of people will be staying in Reykjavik for that first night or two. And Reykjavik, you don't need a car. It's a very small, walkable city. If you're doing any excursions like whale watching, it's 5-10 minutes walk from whatever hotel you're staying at, sort of downtown. So we thought, right, we'll always include an arrival transfer. That way clients are sort of relaxed when they arrive. They're not queuing at a car rental desk for an hour or more, which is what it was sort of pre-COVID. Now the numbers are starting to get back up this summer. It will probably be close to that again. So we'll have them a transfer. They'll arrive into their hotel and sort of refresh and start the holiday a bit more relaxed. And so in terms of arrival transfers, depending on the size of clients, it's anything from sort of a sedan to the Mercedes Vito sort of Viano. Then in terms of rental cars, even in the summer months, Iceland weather is very changeable. So when we're first quoting, the first car that we will use is the group that's got the Toyota Land Cruiser, that car down the bottom. It's a very strong and sturdy car, and we just find it's a lot sort of safer for clients. I've driven from Reykjavik to the Glacier Lagoon, and that stretch of road, at some points it becomes very open, and Iceland is quite a windy country. And we were in a Land Rover at the time, so it's similar to a Land Cruiser, and you could feel the car move then, and that was in the summer months. So we always said that we would never then use a small car for clients to drive. If they're not happy with the Land Cruiser and want to make just a little bit smaller, then we will look at the RAV4, which is, or whatever similar sort of car in that category, which is the picture above. So they're the sort of two categories that we will use. We will never use a smaller car or anything like that. I was in Iceland 2 weeks ago because I'm based in the UK. We had a new member of team join us, so I was taking her out to show us sort of around. We had a guide take us round, and this was sort of middle of March. So in theory, the weather should have been starting to turn into spring. But this just proves how the weather is so changeable in Iceland, because there was snow up to our knees and we couldn't even see the end of the bonnet of the car when the guide was driving because of the amount of snow. And we saw so many self-drivers in tiny little cars abandoned on the side of the road. And I think we witnessed 3 accidents, all self-drivers as well. So this is why we just won't do it in winter. We will only do it in the summer months. May through to September, just to ensure safety. Because obviously when clients are on the ground, they're our responsibility. And if we don't recommend driving on these roads and in these conditions, we just sort of don't feel comfortable with them being on the ground. And it turns into a non-adventure when you're sort of tackling these conditions. And that's, again, seeing all these small cars, another reason why we will only use the big cars. So arrival, transfer, the 4x4 vehicles are the sort of first two incidents that we have. And then we also have a meet with the team. So when they're in Reykjavik, we'll send someone from our office. One of the guys will drive down to Reykjavik, and we would have had a scheduled meeting in place. So they'll go to their hotel, they'll sit with them, they'll talk through their itinerary day by day. If they've got any extra activities or anything's included, they'll hand over all the vouchers, explain to them when they need to be there, and where to go. They'll talk through them. We give them a huge map as well, even though they've got the Wi-Fi in the car to use their Google Maps. But then the guys on the ground will show them places not to miss, places to avoid, and how to drive in Iceland, and how things to sort of not do. I think everyone seems to think that you're able to drive off-road, which is not the case in Iceland. It's illegal. So they'll talk through all these rules and things with the clients and answer any questions that they have. They'll swap phone numbers, and then we'll sort of keep in contact with them along their sort of journey, so we're there if they have any questions. What we also do with the self-drive itineraries is, as I mentioned, those two destinations earlier, Landmannalaugar and Thorsmork, these are only areas that can be accessed with these super Jeep cars. So we usually add in one or two of these, so they can experience something that they wouldn't be able to in their self-drive vehicle, and also to give them a day off driving, to meet with a guide, to quiz them, to ask questions, to learn about Iceland and anything they want to. So the driver guide will pick them up from their hotel, and they're usually on the south coast in sort of Skálholt or Rangá or somewhere. And they'll pick them up, they'll take them for the day into Thorsmork and Landmannalaugar, or both if they're doing both. And they'll have a full day excursion with them, and then they'll drop them back at the hotel at the end of the day, and they'll bring lunch and everything. So this is Thorsmork, as I mentioned. It's a beautiful area, and this one is open all year round. It has these amazing glacier rivers that you can see in the right-hand picture, that the super Jeeps can drive through. So it's all quite thrilling when the water comes up over the car. And then they sort of go right further in, and then you can do some really amazing hiking. The guides will show you where there's some really beautiful hidden waterfalls and canyons and things. So it's really stunning. And then Landmannalaugar, which is just a perfect hiking spot. It's on National Geographic's one of their top 100 hikes, part of Landmannalaugar is on there. And there's loads of sort of natural hot pools. So if people want to take, the guide can bring some towels. And if they want to bring their swimming stuff, then they can get changed and use the natural hot pools as well. And then obviously in the self-drive itineraries, we can still add on the extra activities like the snowmobiling and the ice walk. We can pre-book all that. And as I mentioned, the guy from the office will sit down and talk with them and explain the timings and where they need to go and so forth. They can still do the horse riding and the buggies and the ATVs. So still lots to do in the self-drive itinerary. So it's another sort of option to sort of bear in mind for those summer months. Yeah. And then I just wanted to sort of touch on the special moments that we can do with the guided itineraries, just sort of some really unique, amazing things that we've done over the years. We've hired out Harper Concert Hall in Reykjavik, and with the Icelandic Philharmonic Orchestra, so we've hired that out privately. We've done some amazing sort of dinner setups, Game of Thrones style bachelor parties with a sort of feast dinner afterwards. Viking village setups, private camps and picnic setups there. And that's just what the camps look like inside. We can hire out inside a glacier on a private basis. We did a few drinks things there before, and inside the volcano as well. there we go. I hope that sort of helps everyone to understand the self-drive and how we sort of try and make it a bit more personal for your clients and look after them while they're with us.
Thank you very much, Sarah. That was a very interesting subject. And indeed, I saw very often people say, do you do self-drive? So that was a good subject to pick. We have some messages from Kate. Well, that was great. So we want to go back and do this. Okay. Kate, I was just thinking the same. I thought that would be nice, actually, of a self-drive fun trips, that could be cool to do. Voilà. Each time I see your webinar and those pictures, like, we can't wait. All right. So, let's see. Celine, you're asking our people. Oh, that's an interesting question, Celine. I guess because the country is so beautiful, you're wondering if the people from Iceland wants to move to and live in other country. Like
there's not many, actually. They're very proud. They love their country and they are very proud.
And they really don't go and move to whatever country. Yeah,
no. They usually, a lot of them will travel in the winter, somewhere warm, like in Spain or somewhere for a month, just to get some sunshine. But yeah, they're all very proud and love their country.
Voilà, so they will not move anywhere else. Celine, you're also asking if a car insurance is mandatory.
So we usually include with the self-drive, we'll include like the highest premium package insurance. We'll ask you to let us know if they want an extra driver or two, and then we'll also include the like the mobile Wi-Fi, so you can use your phone for the Google Maps and things. But we always do the top insurance package to make sure they're fully protected.
Ricardo, you said thank you for an amazing presentation, but thank you also for attending. Shari, thank you for enlightening us. Celine, you never see any royal family or actors or other delegates coming. Maybe they want to stay discreet.
We've had many, but yes, they always want to stay discreet. A lot of them that do come, sort of more public figures, we base them a lot in private houses and private villas.
Yeah. So Ali, you want to know if, since there is no guide along the clients, what info do you provide about the site they are seeing to give them context?
So we still give them the same sort of itinerary structure as we would for a guided one. So we'll tell them, say if they're going to the Golden Circle, we'll tell them the main sites that they need to include on that day. And then that's when it helps by meeting someone from the team, so they can add in sort of extra things for them to sort of see. And then we'll, if they want us to sort of pre-book certain lunch spots that they've heard about that, or that we recommend that might get sort of booked up or are quite sort of famous, then we can do that along the way.
And I suppose they're always in contact. They have a number to call, of course, and they can even ask a question, telling them where they are. And
exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ricardo, you want to know if it's necessary to have an international driver license?
No, just as long as there's some English on the driving license, then it's not a problem. If you're, my husband, for example, before he moved to the UK, he's Moroccan, so his license was in French and Arabic. So he always needed an international license because there was no English on there. But if there's English, then you're fine.
So US or every is good to have your own. It's good to know. Puran, you want to know if, Sarah, do you have a map with suggestion for self-drive 7-night itinerary? Huh?
I can send some suggested itineraries when I send the recording. I'll attach
perfect. Joanne, and I will answer your question because you said you could not attend until now. And yes, we are recording this, so Sarah will send it to you. But thank you for joining us even late. Ali, she said, admin, what general information do you provide with a waterfall, things that they pass along the way?
So that'll, again, it will be in the itinerary. It will say the name of the waterfall and give some sort of general information about it. But I guess that's where you have the plus point of having the guide on the two sort of options. The guide will be filled with a lot more sort of facts and information, whereas the information that they'll get on self-drive will just sort of be the bullet points that are on the itinerary.
At a very high level, how do you generally advise on budget for self-drive? What should client expect for cost per person per day for self-drive?
That'll be on the samples that I send out. I'll send a sort of rough approximate cost sheet as well to give you an idea. It's got sort of a self-drive one, a self-drive with a super Jeep, and then maybe some activities and not. So just sort of, you can have some guidance to give your clients when they're on the phone.
Another question, do you ever recommend Blue Lagoon upon arrival or only at the end?
I would say it's best on the end. You know, Iceland's a very outdoor, busy itinerary. So I just think it's nice then to have that downtime at the end to sort of relax. Also, as well, if you're staying at the Blue Lagoon, the retreat hotel is, in my opinion, the best hotel in Iceland. So I think it's always good to keep the best till last. Otherwise, if clients stay there first, their expectations are a lot higher for other hotels.
Alors, Liz, you want to know what about the UAE for driving license? Do you know if it's
I would probably have to see the license first, but I'm sure the UAE ones must have
in English, I would say.
Yeah.
Tara, thank you, Dominique and Sarah. Are there any active volcano with lava?
Not at the moment. We had one that started erupting last March and it finished around sort of August time. So nothing at the moment, touch wood. It's a good thing, but also a bad thing.
Enrico, you want to know how crowded are the road and the places the clients is visiting in the height of tourist season? Well,
the roads are never, compared to sort of what we know in the UK and the US, that, you know, the Icelandic people will say the roads are busy, but for what we know, it's not that busy.
Compared to other countries.
Exactly, yeah. It's still quite sort of gentle and relaxed. But obviously there's going to be certain places in the height of sort of high season, like the Golden Circle, because a lot of people do that from Reykjavik and maybe just come for a couple of days and go. And so they would probably be the busiest sort of places. But once you get a little bit of further field, then it does feel a bit more quiet.
Puran, you want to know if do you have a guide that specializes in photography?
Yes, we do. He actually took that picture that's on my background, not this background, the presentation background. So yeah, we do photography tours with him.
Celine wants you to give a regard to your husband because her origin are also from Marrakesh.
I will.
So let's look at the chat. It looks like we had a little bit of chatting on that side. What I want to go? Tara, amazing. Currently, also we already answered that on that stunning. The best. Alors, Tara wants to know where are the best place to see puffin penguins? Are the penguins seasonal?
So no penguins, it's puffins. The puffins, you can actually take a rib boat ride from Reykjavik, or you can go to the Westman Islands. And the best time is sort of the summer months, June, July, August.
All right. Thank you for the Sonino team from Miami. Thank you for the informative presentation. Back to the Q&A. Sharon is asking, what is the most deluxe property in Iceland? Or in Reykjavik. So for you, you said it's a Blue Lagoon, or?
I would say the retreat at the Blue Lagoon. In Reykjavik, the Edition Hotel opened at the end of last year. It's still not 100% fully finished. They are planning to have everything done by May. I was there in January and did a very, very intensive inspection. We looked at literally everything. We looked at the rooms. It's great for connecting options of rooms. I wouldn't recommend any other view rooms apart from the harbour or the sea view, because the ones on the side, they're building a bank which is very, very close to that. So I would only recommend the ones looking outwards. They're building a spa and a nightclub and some more restaurants, which are the things that are still ongoing. And I was also there a couple of weeks ago. We had dinner there to try it out as well. So I think if they're all on track to have everything finished by May, it's going to be really good. And then I would say that would probably be the most high profile one. My personal favorite in Reykjavik is Sand Hotel, but that's a bit more sort of smaller and cozier. And then other sort of luxury properties. There's Detler Farm in the north, which is an 11 experience property. And then obviously the retreat at
Blue Lagoon.
the Blue Lagoon. Yeah.
Barbara wants to know, what is your opinion on the edition? Very costly. Do you think it is worth the high price?
It is very costly. Oh, that's a political question.
Right.
I think
maybe you answer when you do a one-on-one with Barbara.
No, I mean, I think it's been such a long time coming in Iceland. I think we've been waiting 8 years for it. It feels like forever we've been waiting for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when you've been waiting that long, your expectations are very, 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 very high.
Mm-hmm.
So my personal opinion, the rooms weren't as big as I thought, but I did think they were very good in terms of flexibility. When we looked around, they are able to fit like 2 adults and 2 kids in one room, which is great. That would obviously then bring the cost down because you wouldn't be taking 2 rooms at another hotel. And like I mentioned, they do have very good connecting options, which is very limited in Iceland. So I think probably a little bit overpriced, but it's got some pluses and some minuses. So
Barbara would like you to what is the name of your favorite hotel? You said the Sand Hotel?
Sand Hotel in Reykjavik, yes.
Voilà. Sand, S-A-N-D?
Yes, yeah.
All right, perfect. Huh? So here is the answer. Céline wants to know if you quote in US dollar or in euro?
In euros.
In euros. Also, do you offer helicopter tours?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And alors Barbara, do you want that with types? I think Sand Hotel. Voilà. It's a small hotel, you say, huh, Sarah?
Yes.
More boutique. Liz, I have a self-drive coming up, and they are staying at Edition this July, and the room seems tiny. It was crazy expensive.
Mm. I wouldn't say they're tiny compared to sort of other hotels in Reykjavik. Icelanders don't really have sort of big bedrooms, so a lot of the older hotels have very small rooms. They are bigger than sort of most of the hotels, but they're not as big as I would have thought they would have been for the price.
Mm-hmm. Céline, you want to know if clients prefer taxi or coach transfers?
We do private transfers, so we don't sort of do taxis or buses or anything.
All right, I do not see any more questions. So I think I'm going to thank everybody for attending our webinar. And of course, Sarah, you're the star of the show. Barbara, one more question. Can you comment on Consulate and Borg?
So when I was in Iceland a couple of weeks ago, I stayed at Borg. It used to be, you know, when we started this sort of 9 years ago, our go-to property. But obviously there's a lot more choice now. My personal opinion on Borg is it's looking a little bit tired. And it was actually good then to stay there and sort of see that. Consulate is great. It's got, it's sort of quite funky, I would say, for sort of more mature clients, you know, 50s upwards, I would say. It's got a really sort of sophisticated vibe. So if you've got young people that want to sort of party and things, I would put them in Canopy. But if you've got sort of a nicer couple, then I would use Consulate.
Perfect. Thank you, Barbara. So I don't see any other question. Remember, maybe some of you was not there at the beginning when we said you can make an appointment with Sarah on www.letsconnect365.com. It's our platform, appointment platform, and Sarah will be happy to prepare an itinerary for you. Your clients can also join you and Sarah together. So I think, what is Sarah's email address? Sarah, you want to type your email? Of course, you're going to do the follow-up, but if somebody wants...
Yes, I will do a follow-up.
Yes, right now. And the other things I was mentioning, it's www.letsconnect365.com. All right. So I think, Sarah, did you type it already? I didn't.
Yes.
Yes, when you type it, it disappears. All right. So thank you, everyone, again. And I hope to see you tomorrow. We have a brand new DMC from France, and she's doing a Be Essential. And Elbia will be doing her first webinar with us tomorrow at noon Eastern time. So I hope we are so proud of our DMC, I can't tell you, and the feedback we're getting, not only on their work, their service, but their integrity, their personality. It's like, really many things to be proud of. Huh? So thank you for trusting them, and we'll see you soon on another webinar. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening for Sarah. For us, it's still early.
Yes.
Bye, Sarah.
Good day to everyone. Take care.
Bye. Bye.